Hi there and welcome to this FPLreview.com video guide. This video is really focused on how we can interpret the output from a solver and some of the other functions that we can use with the output to find a line that we like. So I've loaded up team ID number 1 as an example, and let's go straight to the solver. Now I'll set this to speed 6 just for the sake of this video, and we'll run a solve with the default settings. So the default settings are really built to find the strongest root move, and what I mean by the strongest root move is the move in the live game week. So as we go further and further out, the moves suggested are really becoming more and more speculative. And that's because, projections can change, players getting injured, players will be dropped, all this kind of stuff. There can be significant news announced. So really, what's being suggested in 10 game weeks time or even 6 game weeks time is generally very inconsequential. It's not what we're really worried about. Now, there could sometimes be a very key move if we want to buy or sell. Haaland or Salah, that really matters. But in general, the further and further we go out, you don't necessarily have to worry quite as much. That's just helping paint the overall eval score. And so what is the eval score? Well, if I click out, there's 2 scores listed. There's the sum of the EV and there's this eval score. And that's the one that the solver cares about. It's generated using the solver settings. And this allows us to set it in such a manner that we're finding the strongest root move. Now we can also turn it into literal settings, and I'll go through that in one moment. Now, one other thing I want to point out here is that there's no move suggested in game week 38. The reason for this isn't that the solver thinks you should burn your transfer. It's that there's no key transfer found in accordance with our FT value. And it's more so saying that, do you know what? A good move will become apparent by game week 38. So that's how to interpret this. Once we get to game week 38 itself, it knows it's in a dead end. It knows that it's going to have to use a transfer, and it won't be coming up as no transfers. It'll suggest to at least use your free transfer. Equally, one thing I'd like to stress is that solvers are all about idea generation. This may be the top line, but all 3 of these top lines are within effectively negligible difference of each other in terms of eval score. I wouldn't purely look at this high eval score and this is what I have to do. I look at the other lines, particularly the root moves, and think, does this make sense to me? So we need to think in kind of more of a Bayesian perspective. And equally, does this align with my risk preference? And we'll also be able to scroll down and we can see that, really all of these root moves, and there's whatever 6, 7, 8 of them, are extremely close to this top move. So view this as idea generation. And one of the ways we can really push that is if we go to Explore Lines option. And here we're shown a dendrogram, and we can click around and perhaps find a line that is closer to our own preference. Equally, we can go to our transfers down here and select one by one what we prefer, and that will generate the plan within our draft. Now we can also do our more literal plan. This is the one that maybe is more intuitive and what we tend to do without analytics and without solvers. So we set our FT value to 0, in the bank value to 0, info value to 0, and our time decay should be 1.0 or 1.01. Let's solve again. This time we will get a move in game week 38. There we go. Now the issue here is that the line is a lot more fragile. So if something goes wrong, then our line has a higher risk of failing.